What is going on YouTube? I am back with another video, and today I am going to be talking about The Batman, my review on it. I saw it Tuesday at a fan event screening, and I just gotta say, start with Robert Pattinson. Robert Pattinson is Batman. Enough Twilight jokes, enough Sparkle jokes. He is a definitive Batman. He absolutely kills it in this movie. And this comic book movie, it's not like, any of the MCU movies or any of the other DC movies, or you can even compare it to other Batman movies. It feels different. And one of the tones that I got from like the first 20 minutes watching this film is that it feels like a Martin Scorsese type gangster comic book movie. It's very much like that. And other than Robert Pattinson, like the cast is stellar. You have Zoe Kravitz playing Catwoman, Andy Serkis playing Alfred, Colin Farrell playing the Penguin, Paul Dano playing the Riddler, and Jeffrey Wright as Jim Gordon. And this Peter Skarsgård is in here, and the cast is just very stellar. A+ cast in my opinion. And it's directed by Matt Reeves, who I'm a huge fan of. I watched the Planet of the Apes trilogy, and he's a very underrated director. And in my personal opinion, this is his best film to date. And this movie is a very different Batman movie. It takes place in year 2 of his Batman career. And, he works with Jim Gordon, and they're investigating a series of murders that the Riddler is committing. And they have to figure out why and who's doing it. And what's the motive. And this movie doesn't have a lot of action, but it has enough action, if that makes sense. And it's very a detective-driven story. And that is what I've been wanting in a lot of my Batman movies. And, Michael Keaton, he did a pretty decent job, but Tim Burton didn't have that detective aspect of him. And I love the Nolan trilogy. That's always going to be held in my heart, but that didn't have the detective aspect in it. And that's the first thing that Batman is. Before all the fighting and all that other stuff, he is a detective first and foremost. And in this movie, you get a lot of that, like detective gadgets that he uses in the utility belt. He has this very cool eye thing that he uses while he's Batman, so he can see everything. And it's very, very cool. It's like the Arkham games come to life. And the standouts to me, other than Robert Pattinson, is Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman. And going into her Catwoman, I wanted them to give Catwoman a character, like some depth, Anne Hathaway and Michelle Pfeiffer did a pretty good job as Catwoman, but there wasn't a lot of depth and character to them. They were just, cat burglars. And you really do feel for Selena Kyle in this movie and her backstory and why she does the thing that she does. And she tests Batman, and her dynamic with Batman is very good. It's unlike any of the past iterations. She's kind of part of the reason why Batman changes throughout the movie. And in the beginning, Batman is, his motive is there's a lot of criminals in Gotham. There's only bad people and there's only good people. And he meets Catwoman, who she has gray area. And I love when movies do this. One of my favorite shows is Cobra Kai, and they have a lot of gray area with characters. And Catwoman is that gray. She gives them that when they first meet, this is a non-spoiler review, but this isn't a spoiler, but when they first meet, she kind of changes how Batman, she starts like the blueprint on how he changes his ways. And, I just like what they did with her. And, her motive is very different from Batman. She has 2 things going on. She's trying to find her missing friend, and, she's trying to get out of, this life of Gotham, and life has been hard on her. And Colin Farrell as the Penguin, you don't get a lot of him in here, but you get quite a few scenes. He is very, very good as a Penguin. The Penguin hasn't been like one of my favorite Batman villains, but Colin Farrell as the Penguin is very, very good. He's like that Martin Scorsese type gangster figure in Gotham, and he's very good. He's not the Penguin just yet. He's still Oz. There's a Penguin show coming out pretty soon, so I'm going to check that out. And Andy Serkis plays Alfred, and he's not in it very much. I wanted more of him, but the scenes that you get with him and Bruce, they have that relationship where it's kind of strained, but he's still that father figure to Bruce. And there's like two scenes that are powerful, two of the best scenes in the whole film between the two of them, and it's like so sad. I was in tears because it's that classic Alfred and Bruce and scene. I'm not gonna get into spoilers, but you'll know what I'm talking about when you see the film. And you know, Robert Pattinson's Bruce Wayne. A lot of people aren't gonna like it because Matt Reeves kind of said it. He's not that billionaire playboy just yet. He's gonna get there, because in the film he doesn't want to be Bruce Wayne. He wants to be Batman the whole time, and you get a lot of Batman in here. It's a Batman movie. It stays true to the title, The Batman. So his Bruce Wayne, he's not there yet, you know, and he'll get there eventually. But I liked his Bruce Wayne for the most part. You know, he's a broken man who hasn't gotten over his parents' death, and Alfred is trying to get him in the right direction. You know, he doesn't want him to stop being Batman, but he wants him to like balance it, and you can kind of tell because he kind of helps him be Batman throughout the movie. And Jeffrey Wright as Jim Gordon, I knew that he was going to be good, but he was stellar. Like, he was amazing in this film. The relationship between him and Batman is amazing. It's that classic comic book relationship where they have to figure out cases together. And, you know, Jeffrey Wright was saying that in the interviews that that's what this film is. And one thing I liked about it is that it was kind of similar to Seven, between Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman's the partnership. So Jeffrey Wright killed it. John Turturro is also in this movie. I was a little skeptical because I've only seen him in the Transformers movies, but he was great as Carmine Falcone. And who else? Paul Dano as the Riddler was absolutely terrifying. I mean, his villain performances, in my opinion, is up there with Heath Ledger. Heath Ledger is still number one class by himself, but Paul Dano is up there. He killed it as the Riddler. He is very creepy, unsettling. You know, there are some jump scares. Well, there's not jump scares, but there are moments where, like, I wanted to cover my ears, and just in case there was a jump scare, because, like, he very much hides, and he tests Batman, and, you know, he does something in this movie, well, a couple of things that are really pretty terrifying, that I'm surprised that they got away with the PG-13 rating, even though you can push the boundary. But he was amazing. But I just love how this movie, Robert Pattinson is Batman. I was behind the casting from day one. When they announced him, I was like, he's going to kill as Batman, because I've seen his other films other than Harry Potter and Twilight. Good Time, The Rover, and The Lighthouse. He absolutely killed it. He is amazing. If you're skeptical of Robert Pattinson, don't even like talk about Twilight, because if you haven't seen his other films, because he's done indie films, he crushes it as Batman. He is the best Batman, in my opinion. And from this movie really feels like that comic book Batman. It's the most comic book movie that I've seen in a long while. Like, I love the MCU. I love what they do, but some of their movies don't feel like comic booky. And that goes with the other DCEU movies. They don't feel comic booky to me. This feels comic book, classic Batman. Like, he is badass. He's angry too. One thing I like that Matt Reeves said, he does not kill in this movie. He doesn't kill, and I'm happy about that. But before I go, I want to recommend seeing this movie in IMAX. There is a car chase scene between the Batmobile and the Penguin that you see in the trailers. You have to see it in IMAX. And I saw it in IMAX, and it is amazing. The sound quality. Also, Michael Giacchino's score is up. Michael Giacchino as a composer is this solidified him as up there with Hans Zimmer, Danny Elfman, like the two GOATs basically. He is amazing. And let me know what you guys think in the comment section below when you see it. I might do a spoiler discussion. I will be talking with Jacob and the Kings of Pop Culture on Sunday about it. Until then, see you next time. Peace.